Wilks. This is Welcome to my studio, and I do mobile contraptions for Burning Man.
All right, so I'm always fascinated with artists, and the main question that I like to ask is, what made you decide that you wanted to basically do this? You know, like you have mobile contraptions. Why did you decide to start doing that instead of getting a 9-to-5 job?
Yeah, well, it did actually start kind of with a 9-to-5 job, working for Disney, telling stories, and basically designing graphic designs for theme parks. And it evolved actually when I got turned on to Burning Man 10 years ago. And I went out once and just realized it's such a massive space, and realized that the next time I came back that I wanted to do something that got me, you know, over the playa to different events with my buddies. And so I came back with a mobile contraption called the Evotrope.
You mentioned that you used to work for Disney and everything like that. Was that particular training essential to the art that you're making?
Again, telling stories, Disney, that's what we did there. And that's actually, I stopped working at Disney and started my own business and did a lot of exhibit design work. So again, telling stories in a three-dimensional space. Then when I got turned on to Burning Man, that was just a much bigger three-dimensional space. You know, I love immersing people into a different kind of mindset, and I think to take them on a journey like that and bring them on board to something I built, or take them somewhere. That's really been my path.
Now, when you're out in Burning Man, and you obviously see all the different art installations, what were people's reactions to your particular your art?
Yeah, well, so I have a couple of pieces. Like I mentioned, the Evotrope. That's a cool one because I can take 3 to 6 people on this. We can travel to different events, different kind of music domes, and during the day and night. And at night, I actually get to do my performance where I actually spin those blades and I light them up with a stroboscope and brings that artwork, the artwork that I change out artwork every year, brings that artwork to life with the use of that stroboscope and sync up with whatever music's going off. I'll bring my own music in, or
whatever the DJ is having.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, let me try to work with that.
We'll pull up, so it's a fun contraption to pull up with. So that's the Evotrope, and so every year, about 5 years now, I bring out different artwork for that. So the blades, I change out the blades, repaint the blades. The Aquatrope, that silver piece that you've seen, that really is a single person vehicle. It's something I ride to different events, and it actually has a theme about water. And so I was very fascinated with water and how
it's funny out in the desert too.
Yeah. Well, that's actually the look of it I love because it's beautiful. It's a jewel-like piece, in total contrast to the harsh kind of conditions that are out there. So I definitely thought about that when I was designing. I wanted something to catch your eye and actually just reflect the environment's, you know, very shiny. But the main concept behind it is water and relating to water, connecting to water. I wanted to share that story, and so there are 8 different discs on there that have a different theme about water. And so it took me about 3 years to make that. A lot of research, and then designing each disc and art panel and putting it all together and doing all the engineering it's a pretty heavy piece. And
speaking of that, obviously you're not going to be able to go to any auto shop and have pieces like that. How do you make that? How does that come together? Do you have your own workshop?
Yeah, I use a full range of technology, so I can send pieces out and have a water jet cut. I actually have an off-site studio where I can weld and do all my own welding and plasma cutting and pieces I can send out and design them, send out the drawings, and somebody else will machine them for me if it gets really pretty custom. But a lot of the work on all my pieces I do myself. I really enjoy that process.
So you design everything, and then you also are a big portion of how it's made.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll just get a rough sketch going, and then I just start building. Other times, because of my career, I'll do some pretty detailed drawings to kind of figure it out in the system, the computer, and then have some various pieces fabricated, and then ultimately bring it all together before it's go time.
Have you ever had it where you've had like this massive collection of pieces, and you just find out at the last minute that like certain things don't work? Now you're stuck with extra parts that you're like, oh, what do I do with this?
I got a few extra parts. A lot of times what happens, it's more on the mechanical part of it. Motors that maybe were too big or not powerful enough, or I didn't gear them properly. But they ultimately get used for something. You know, I have an electric cupcake car that's not here, that I designed. It's a much smaller vehicle, one-person vehicle, and a lot of the pieces and parts when I was doing my Evotrope, that's all steel and wood, got basically infused into that, into that piece. So I'll always find something to do with my extra pieces.
Well, I'm sure with your background, you can actually then invent something. It's like, well, that didn't work for that, so I guess I'll make something that works for it.
Yep. Yeah. Or buddies or friends that, in my other shop, I've got a bunch of extra pieces and parts, and so somebody will call me up on the weekend and say, hey, do you have that length or whatever? And I'll say, yep, come on over, so we just share.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If the viewers at home wants to look you up, how can they see more of what you're doing?
Yeah, go to richardwilksartist.com, and I am on Instagram at Richard_Wilks. So those are my two main portals.
And his gallery is out in the Brewery Art Walk in Los Angeles. They do have open houses in the spring and the fall. That's how I met Richard, and I recommend everybody to come out whenever you have a chance if you're in Los Angeles. And pay him.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, man.